Welcome back to the house and the challenge of saving 1,000 tiles in a day. From the work I did yesterday, there are a lot of tiles outside already, and because there's a few thousand more in there, I thought I'd better do a better job at organising them. So first thing this morning, I rearranged them a little bit over there on the pallets, and that was a pretty good warm-up because it was pretty fresh this morning. But now the sun is out and it's a bit warmer, and I'm ready to crack on. Before I start the work, here's a quick explanation of what I'm intending to do. The vast majority of the tiles have come out of the house with one side covered in cement or mortar, in some instances render, and the other side has probably got a couple of centuries worth of dirt on them. So first up, I'm going to use the Karcher, and I'm going to try and blast off this mix on the underside, and then probably with a slightly softer power spray, clean the top surface. This is one that's pretty dirty, and this is one that I've had a little bit of a practice on. So that's the transformation that I'm trying to achieve. But we'll see how it goes. I had a bit of a practice run on the broken tiles that I had laid out here, and where there was a bit of material on them, the Karcher's done an outstanding job at cleaning them up. So they've come out a lot cleaner, not quite new, that's for sure, but a lot cleaner. Where there's a lot of material on the tiles, the Karcher does a very good job at clearing it, but it does take a long time. So I probably need to have a bit of a rethink about how to approach those ones. Anyway, it's a reasonable start, and certainly given me a good idea of how better to approach it. Here are the first couple of sets of tiles after I've cleaned them with my slightly new process and flow. It's fair to say the results are fairly mixed. Some of them are coming out very nicely, some of them have got a lot of dirt on the top, and it's going to take another wash or a bit of a dry, but I reckon it's an alright start for now, and I'll crack on with the others. This latest batch is looking pretty good and I'm moving a little bit faster now. I've got the routine a bit better. But after a pretty long morning of work, it's time for a break and some lunch, and then I'll get back on it afterwards. I've been pushing pretty hard all afternoon and making a reasonable dent in the pile here, which is definitely going down, which is a good thing. And in this final hour of work, I thought I'd give you a closer look at one particular tile and its journey from being covered in dirt. This probably is a bit of cement or mortar covered in dirt, to having its surface cleaned and then power washed and then stacked up. So watch this tile. I think it's fair to say that this tile's change wasn't amazingly dramatic, but it's now a lot cleaner than it was. And certainly I could reuse this in any way that I chose. But in terms of dramatic finish, it's probably not as interesting as some of those. But that's your average typical tile's life. From the original pile of tiles that came out of the back room, This is all that I've got left that I haven't yet cleaned, and these are the ones with the most material on them, so they're going to need a little bit more work. My intention now is to give them a quick spray with the power washer now, and then because there's rain forecast for the next couple of days, I'm going to leave them out and see if rain and a bit of wind can do a bit of natural cleaning, and then I'll come back to them and give them a clean and stack them up. And that's the end of a fairly long day of work, which has seen quite a lot of change, not least to this area, which at the beginning of the day looked more like this. But now looks like this and is a good deal more organised, and a large amount of these tiles have had a lot of work on them and look considerably different. These here are the tiles that I took out of the back room yesterday, and at the beginning of the day most of them looked a bit like this. A lot of material on them, very dirty on the front, and some of them now have really cleaned up quite nicely. I know it's quite dark so you might not be able to see, but they have changed quite dramatically. Not all of them, but they've gone a long way to looking like they could be used in the future. And then these tiles here were already outside, but had never really been cleaned. So this is the first time I've really got them to look like they might have done maybe 200 years ago. And certainly the majority of these I could use for something else. And the good news is that the upstairs of the house has a lot more of these. So if I do a good job at taking them out and then cleaning them, we'll certainly be able to reuse them in some way. I did a quick count of the number of tiles that are out here, and there probably aren't 1,000, but there are probably about 850 and a few more if you include the tiles that were broken. As to the question of whether the tiles have been saved, the simple answer is yes. The alternative would just be to take them out and to throw them away, especially those that are broken. But that would be a couple of 100 years of history and heritage that you were throwing away. And having worked with the tiles, worked with them a lot per tile, you start to develop a real affection for them. And a lot of them now are in condition where they could be reused, and with a bit more work, nearly all of them could be restored in some way and used around the house or in the property. So have I saved 1,000 tiles in a day? Almost. But it's been a lot of fun, and I hope you've enjoyed watching it. Thanks very much for watching, and see you next time.